Alright, so a couple days ago was the day we had all been waiting for. All of the reveals for Season 10. As expected, there were a lot of opinions flying around about literally everything. The Lawbringer and Raider reworks, the new hero, which streamers were playing, the map, and so on. There's still a lot of talk going on, and now that I've gotten to look over everything again, I want to throw my 2 cents in. So in this video, I'll be talking about everything I didn't talk about 2 days ago, so let's not waste any more time and get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is Lawbringer. This is probably just a result of the minority being the loudest here, but it looks like there are a bunch of people who are unhappy with the way the new rework looks, while the rest of us are holding on until we actually get to play the rework. Let me just throw this out there. I really don't think this rework was a nerf. I think the changes that UB made will be good for both Lawbringer and the game. I think some people think it's a nerf or a bad rework because there was nothing new introduced, no new attacks or anything, and it looks like it was basically just improvements and doesn't really hold a candle to the Season 5 reworks, while taking away a few of the things that made Lawbringer a bit unique. I think when people hear rework at this point, they're expecting something like those Season 5 reworks with Kensei, Berserker, and Conqueror. And I'm guilty of this myself. I hold out hope that any seasonal rework will change up the heroes like they did with the Kensei rework. And I think at this point, we know that we shouldn't always expect that, as over time the reworks have been more about trying to improve upon what the heroes already have, rather than giving them all brand new attacks and moves, and maybe we'll see 1 or 2 new animations or attacks. I am really confused as to why Lawbringer didn't receive any hyper armor. That seems to be something a lot of people are upset about. I'm not really upset about it, I'm just confused. I don't think everyone in the game needs hyper armor, but if anyone should have it, it should be Lawbringer. And I'm only saying that because he's wearing a massive set of armor. He's the most armored character in this game. For all we know, he could just be a set of armor with nothing underneath. We can't see an inch of skin, he's all armor, so you'd think that he'd have some more armor on his attacks, more so than just on shove. I'm not talking like endless hyper armor here like Berserker or anything, but maybe something on a heavy attack, even if it's on a chained heavy like with Raider, as it really just fits the look of the character. Now for the people saying that this is just a flat out nerf because UB decided to remove shove on block and make his long arm and impale interruptible, sure, they're nerfs, they make the hero weaker in some way, but these mechanics were just bad for the game. Shove on block literally slowed down fights to a crawl and was frustrating and flat out boring to go up against, not only in duels but in 4s. It allowed Lawbringer to just avoid pressure in some situations and stall on points. I get it, it was one of the things that made Lawbringer unique, and I do think that they could have done something with it to make it less annoying, but it's gone now. Long arm and impale could wipe an opponent very easily, and there wasn't much you could do about it. These were both just steps in the right direction and allows us to continue moving towards a more offensive game. Long arm is pretty weak now though. It'll still grant 1 attack to a team ganking, but the move is so slow that it doesn't really have any uses anywhere else. I think maybe they could have sped it up just a little bit or allowed him to soft feint an unblockable finisher with it, but oh well. Now on to the rest of his kit. Let me say this really quickly. The other day I mentioned how I thought the 400 millisecond top light opener would make Lawbringer even more annoying to play against, as he could just unlock and do the impale or top light mix up. It turns out UB did take this into consideration, and his unlock light will come from the right side rather than from the top. For some reason they didn't mention this in the stream or on UB's website. This info wasn't available at the time. It was only available on the Uplay patch notes, so I do apologize for that. And if anything like that happens again in the future, I'll try to let you know as soon as possible in a pinned comment or in the description. Anyways, the rest of his kit doesn't look that bad. They gave him enhanced lights, which definitely aren't parry bait at 500 milliseconds if mixed in with feints. He can access his unblockable with any chain now. His shove after heavy is 500 milliseconds, which isn't worthless at all. I actually think it'll hit a lot of people. It is a shame that the quote-unquote mix-up is gone now. I think that it added a bit of depth to the character. They changed it to confirm a light, which is really plain. Now it's just another bash in the light attack like the rest of the bash in the light attacks, but at least he has a bash that confirms damage now. Top light is 400 milliseconds, which is certainly an improvement, and it looks like he still has really good parry punishes. Lawbringer wasn't really nerfed. He can hold his own a bit more efficiently now in a 1v1. On paper it may look bad or boring, but I'm sure when people get to use him and learn what he can do and how people react to things, he'll be much better than he was. He won't be destroying people in ganks anymore, but that's okay to me, as no one likes having their controls stripped away from them. It's not the most innovative rework in the game, but I do believe he'll be a better hero. Now onto the Raider rework. I watched it again and there's still not much to talk about. He's just a better hero, just flat out an upgraded Raider. He's more powerful and he's faster, with the only real nerf coming to his Stampede charge, but that needed to be nerfed for the same reason Long Arm and Impale needed to be, except Raider's charge was a tad more annoying to me, as he could just show up and completely change the fight if you're being ganked, with the charge being an instant kill more than half of the time. And when I was using Raider, it wasn't too engaging having to use the charge so often. So Raider got 500 millisecond lights, some new chains, faster stunning tap with variable timing, the ability to soft feint any heavy including zones with a guard break, armor on chained heavies, and damage buffs across the board. Not exactly what I'd call a rework, so I'll use Yubi's term, a major hero update. To me, these are just buffs and there's nothing wrong with that. Raider is undoubtedly a better hero now, no one can argue with that. They did keep dodge guard break, which is an interesting choice. I was sure that they were going to nerf it or something, as it is a really good defensive tool and can make anyone attacking Raider be a bit hesitant, but it's here to stay, and maybe that's because Yubi still wants Raider to be someone who can grab you at any time and abuse your stamina. I do think that Raider is going to be a really good hero now. His zone mix-up is now more dangerous with the sped up stunning tap and soft feint guard break. I am hoping that you won't be able to get away from it by rolling as soon as you see orange though. Now onto the rest of the update. We've got a new map on the way, the Canopy, which looks really good. It'll be available for Tribute, Elim, Skirmish, Duel, and Brawl. So unfortunately, we won't be seeing it in Dominion. I get it, you could try to populate other game modes by introducing a brand new map. The problem with that is that the people who do want to play these modes for the new map only will leave in like a week to go play Dominion again. I do love the look of this map, but it looks like I'll only be seeing it in Duel and Brawl, which is okay, but I would have loved to see another map for Dominion, or even better, Breach. We've got another update coming to Black Prior. Supposedly they'll be nerfing his bash by increasing the recovery, so that it's not so safe to throw out. I say supposedly because the last time this was supposed to be nerfed, it didn't really change anything. Hopefully it works out this time though, as it'll make Black Prior make a few more decisions in a fight. Hopefully one day they'll get around to that bug where the bash indicator will flicker when he dodges. Moving on, we will be receiving some quality of life changes that I'm generally looking forward to. First of which is that we'll finally be able to skip the level up screen and the orders completed screen that shows up after a match. I know this sounds so minor, but if you finished a bunch of orders and leveled up a bunch on a freshly repped hero or something, you could be stuck on the reward screen until the next match started, or at least stuck on it until there were like 5 seconds left before the next match started, so you'd have no time to equip new gear, place war assets down, select new orders, or just back out. This is something that people have been asking for a long time now, and it's nice to finally see it being implemented. Another little thing they're adding is the ability to see executions from the enemy's point of view while previewing them. Again, it's not the biggest change in the world, but it's very welcome, as this could just help someone decide on choosing one when they're having a tough time. One more nice thing they're giving us is putting 12 of the neutral color palettes in the attacker and defender palettes, so we have a bit more variety and options when customizing for team modes. They'll also be adding dynamic rewards to all of the game modes rather than just Breach and Arcade. So basically, the time you spend in each game will have an effect on how much steel and XP you earn. Hopefully this will get more people playing other modes, but I think Dominion will always be the go-to mode For Honor. Speaking of Arcade, Arcade is receiving a few changes. The recommended gear score for the weekly quest is decreased to 108 from 162. This is a nice change for the people who do play Arcade. It will allow us to use more heroes in the weekly quests, as not everyone has a score of 162 for every hero and don't want to receive that damage penalty. There's also been changes that make that penalty a bit less harsh if you're playing under the gear score, and they're making the bots a little less perfect. They're also adding new rewards to the arcade pool, so if you do enjoy arcade, they're making it a bit more accessible across the board. And the last two things I want to talk about really fast are regarding fight changes. So Ubi is nerfing Revenge again, just slightly this time. All of the Revenge multipliers are being dropped by 0.1, which isn't huge, but it's there. They're doing this because strong players are gaining Revenge a bit too quickly. This isn't really a bad change, I just wish that Revenge gain worked properly while being ganked. There are times where you'll be outnumbered and the game just can't tell, so you don't gain any Revenge at all. Hopefully that'll be addressed in the next mid-season patch. Another fight change is an indirect buff to every static guard hero in the game. All heroes now can launch their attacks 100 milliseconds after starting a stance change. Before it was 300 milliseconds for anyone that wasn't an assassin, so now everyone will be able to switch guards and attack a bit faster, which is again a very welcome change. Anyways, that's all I've got for this video. I'm not talking about the Hitokiri in this video because I've said everything I had to say in the last video, so if you want, you can go watch the start of that video as I talked about them for a few minutes. As usual though, I do want to hear from you guys, so talk to me down in the comments about anything we talked about in this video. I am looking forward to the next season, mainly so that we can all use a new hero. There may not be anything completely game changing coming to this next season, but that's alright, as long as everyone's fun to play. Anyways, if you liked the video, feel free to leave a like and sub if you're new, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.